What is up, guys? My name is Harry Rice, and welcome back to the channel. Today is a brand new video for 25 Days of Harry. And as you can tell by the title, this is going to be a little bit of a talkative video. I'm going to be talking a lot in this one. That's the point of every video. But this is especially one because I'm going to be talking about the history of my sim league, the Harry Race Hockey Sim League. I'll put the link to that in the description. We're not active right now, just because I've been focusing so much on 25 Days of Harry. But who knows? Maybe by the day this goes up, we'll be back and active because I'll have recorded all of 25 Days of Harry. I'm hoping it can be that way, but we'll see. So I'm gonna go over my history with sim leagues as a whole. Actually, my history with sim leagues and how I got into making the Harry's Hockey Sim League and what's gone wrong, somewhat like that. So we're gonna, I'm gonna do some stuff like that. I really like that. So my history with sim leagues actually only dates back to last year, 2020. It was probably around, I'd say June of that year, where um probably it was in June. I don't remember who DM'd me or who got me into it, but someone eventually mentioned to me, "Hey, dude, you should get into the sim league thing. We're into it. We've got a couple people in this server," and they sent me a link to at what the time was kind of the predecessor to, and anyone who's in sim leagues is probably going to know a lot of these names. A lot of you people that aren't into sim leagues aren't going to know these names, but an early predecessor to QSL Revival. I believe it was run by the same guy who ran QSL, or it was one of the guys that was in the league, I'm pretty sure. And it was a league in modern day. We were in last season, 1920, or sorry, 2021, and we were in that season, and I took the Capitals, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever, getting to control the Washington Capitals with 29 other, or 20, 30 other league GMs, being able to make real legitimate trades, having to re-sign Alex Ovechkin, and it was on this game that I'd never heard of at the time called Fantasy Hockey Manager, FHM, and I thought, okay, this is pretty cool. What else is there? Because I wanted other leagues. I was in that one, and I really, really wanted others. And I started finding other leagues. All I had to do was go. Every sim league server I was in pretty much had a promotion section where you could promote your own sim league or your own server or whatever. And so I discovered a couple leagues. Some of them pretty bad, admittedly, pretty bad. Some of them pretty solid. And then there was Upper Deck Hockey League. I got introduced to Upper Deck Hockey League. I forget how, actually. I think, cause Cody. There was this guy. His name's Cody. He's the owner of the Upper Deck Sim League. He had gone to a few people that were in the league that I was in, the QSL. Because we had migrated to QSL Retro. Actually, this is at the point where we were starting to migrate to that league. He had messaged some of us being like, "Yo, I'm opening a sim league. You want in?" And one of those guys messaged me because they knew I was starting to get in sim leagues. I joined Upper Deck Sim League, and anyone who knows me in Upper Deck knows I took the New York Rangers. I took the 1992 New York Rangers. These guys were stacked, and I couldn't win them a cup. I was their GM for 14 years in sim years. Probably about 7 or 8 months, probably. I tried to win them cups. I got them to the conference finals 4 times. Every single time I was eliminated, it felt like it was at the hands of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And if you play FHM, you know how much of a bitch the 90s Penguins are. Because they have Lemieux and Yager. They literally don't need anyone else. All they need is Lemieux and Yager at that point. And they would always keep beating me. They won, I believe it was 4 straight cups off of beating me in the conference finals. Or beating me in the second round as well, It was so frustrating, but it was so much fun because, like, all right, I gotta build a squad better than Pittsburgh. I gotta build a team better than the Penguins, and I ended up getting Yaroslav Holinka, who turned into my first line center via a trade. Where I forget who I got rid of, but I got rid of Stefan Robida, and I got Yaroslav Holinka, who turned into my first line center. I forget who else, and I got a pick, I'm pretty sure, and I think that pick eventually spiraled into a trade that ended up becoming Jay Bomeister. So I'm pretty sure that was the case. But I made some really damn good trades in UDSL. But QSL Retro, I would not be able to continue if I didn't talk about QSL Retro, because I was the Boston Bruins in that league. And that was where I made my first ever massive blockbuster trade in a sim league. And I'll actually see if I can find it real quick. Because QSL Retro, I'm actually still in that server. I'm still in that server and Upper Deck Hockey League because they did come back. But if I can remember that trade, I'm pretty sure it was... I don't think it was straight up. But let me see if I can find the exact trade. Yeah, no, I can't. Really? Is this not... Oh, I think we used the QSL Revival server for both leagues. So yeah, let me see if I can find it in this league. I hope I can. Because if I can find the trade, I want to be able to tell you guys. There's no results. Okay, wow. So that's surprising. So if I remember correctly, the trade was to the Columbus Blue Jackets, Alex Pietrangelo, and to the Boston Bruins, Sergei Bobrovsky. So, and I think I got a pick back as well, I'm pretty sure. Or no, not Pietrangelo. I forget who I traded him to actually. I forget now. But I know I got Sergei Bobrovsky back, and that was a damn good trade for me. No, I got Alex Pietrangelo. I'm dumb. I already had Bobrovsky. I keep forgetting. Honestly, some of the stuff is kind of shady, just because I haven't remembered too much about these leagues in a while because I've been running my own. But we had UDSL and QSL Retro, and I was in a couple others, Tape to Tape Sim League that kind of fell apart after a while. And pro tip, as someone who runs a sim league, don't make your league too complicated. Don't give your league 18,000 different rules that they have to look over. Don't give them 50 different things of just rules that they have to review and put a check mark if you confirm and agree to these rules, no, just give a little rules section. Don't be a dick. Don't ear rape in VC. Just a bunch of common shit. Guys, that's why I got out of UDSL. That's why UDSL 1 not failed, succeeded, because there wasn't that many rules. It's why Upper Deck Sim League 2.0 has not been that great, because of the amount of different rules that Cody has implemented, I think sim leagues are best when you have rules, but you leave a lot of stuff open to what the players can do, That's why with my sim league, I don't limit how many draft picks a team can have. I don't, at least not right now, even though I am looking to kind of implement that maybe. I don't limit how much you can be under the cap floor. We don't have a cap floor right now, There's stuff in my sim league that I want to leave open to the player. If a player wants to have $60 million in cap space because they want to tank, I'm going to let them tank, There's not going to be a certain, you have to be an 81 average overall. No, it's going to be, no, that's not at all what I want to do in my sim league and with it. But when I first wanted to make a sim league, it was because of Upper Deck Sim League. I saw what Cody was doing in that league, and I thought, this would be really cool. I would love to, I'd love to do something like this. I think it'd be really, really awesome. I just didn't know how, because I didn't have the capture card at this time. I didn't have the capture card. I had a bunch of the games on PC, and I should have grabbed them for this, but I had 02, 03, 04, and 05 on PC, and I also had what we would eventually start running the Sim League on, NHL 08 from the 08 collection. But that's for a little bit later on, and then I considered, and I actually have it right here, I considered, what if I started running it on old school software? What if I got a standard definition capture card, an AVI cable capture card, and just ran off like PS2 and Xbox and whatever, Then came me buying this. This is the video DVR capture card that I bought for AVI cables, that I believe this plugs into... I don't even know what that plugs into, but you got your cables here. And the reason this is here is for your splitter. I have not opened this in a while. And this is going to be a bit of a lesson in capture cardage. And so you take these, for example, and then you plug them into your corresponding boom, boom, booms. And then you get your splitter. Don't do this. You get one set that plugs into your TV, and one set that plugs into... What the fuck? The fuck? Where's this plug into? Am I just retarded? I think I'm retarded. Ignore whatever I'm doing, because clearly I don't know what I'm doing. I've never hooked this up. I wanted to go, and that's the reason I ended up buying all of these games. I ended up buying ESPN NHL Hockey 2K4, NHL 05, NHL 06, and NHL 07 on the original Xbox. That's why I bought these games. Was because I was under the mindset of, okay, if I can, run my sim league, we can go back to like 2004 and we can go game by game through history. Then, actually no, sorry, that's actually later on. That's later on. I'm getting my history all mixed up. Jesus Christ. I decided, this whole capture card shit is way after we started the league. I'm pretty sure. Jesus, But yeah, I eventually did want to do this. This is going to be a very rambly video, but I think I'm best when I'm unscripted. I think you guys like me the best when I'm unscripted. But I decided, eventually, to go off NHL 08. Because, okay, I have NHL 08, I have NHL 09 on PC. Once I get to NHL 10, it'll be a little difficult, but we can work from there, And so I started work on the sheet. And I took UDSL's sheet. Actually, no, sorry, I took QSL Retro sheet. I'm pretty sure. And I revamped it completely. I took out modern day logos. I had to take out Quebec because the Islanders had moved to Quebec. I took out all those teams and I just put every roster that I could in the game. Everyone that was in the game for the Anaheim Ducks, it was on the Anaheim Ducks. I put the contract infos, the ages, everything that a Sim League roster would have. The overalls, potentials, all that. It probably took me... going from when I started to when I finished, including when I took breaks, probably about a month. But if we're going from cumulative time, if I didn't stop, probably about 10 or so hours. And also keeping in mind, this game, NHL 08, had Russia in the game. It had a bunch of free agents. It had a bunch of European players. And they were in my free agency. We created... Alexander Daig was like an 89 in this game. So he was in free agency as an 89, There's guys that were in the game that were only supposed to be in for NHL 08 that have gone on to be mainstays in the league. Sergei Mozyekin, who is a forward in real life, is a defenseman in this league because that's how he is in the game, And I think it's pretty cool. Actually, I think he gets introduced in NHL 09, actually. Yeah, he's in NHL 09. But we started out with NHL 08. Once I got the Sim League ready, it became getting the server ready. And my original idea for the league was to go through, like, spend an actual year in that year, Every day, get on the league. All right, guys, what games do we have to sim today? All right, we got this game, this game, this game, this game, and this game. And an original idea I had was using OBS, like I'm using right now, use OBS to record every single game, post it on YouTube for that day's game, and let people see how their team is progressing. I thought that was the coolest idea ever. I thought, okay, yeah, we're totally going to use this. And then I eventually decided, that sounds very, very time-consuming. And when the Habs come back to play, I don't think I'll have as much time to do that. So I scrapped that idea, obviously, unfortunately, because I do think it's a really, really fun idea. I think all these ideas that I came up with have potential for sim leagues. But we started out in NHL 08, and we just kind of quick sim the season. We did it in about a week and a half, I'm pretty sure. And I'm going to share some stats with you guys, if I can. I'm going to share some stats. Oh, yeah, by the way, getting this league started up took probably... I'd probably say about 2.5 months. It was the issue of getting people in at first, which we actually didn't have that big of an issue, Mr. DDT Regulator, big shout out to him. Go sub to him. Go check him out. He's a great YouTuber. Was the first one allowed in the league, and he was incredibly impressed by what he saw, because he'd never been in a sim league before. But then I allowed people to come in. I posted a link to it in my server, in my Discord server. I was like, hey, I'm going to start running a sim league if you guys want to join. Here's the link. and I had to send it several times because the bot kept banning me because I was posting links in the server that I owned. So yeah, clearly the person who got the bot in my original YouTube server didn't know what they were doing. I don't know how they. I don't think they should be mod of any Discord server because that was really really fun. But uh, but yeah. So the first season, we got things underway, and it was fun. You know, it was a very very fun season. We actually started at the draft. We actually started at the 2007 NHL entry draft. That was the draft year where Patrick Kane, James Van Riemsdyk, all these guys are available. Patrick Kane obviously went first overall to the Blackhawks. I believe JVR went second overall to the. Let's see if I can find it because I have everything saved here in the league. I believe he did go first overall. Patrick Kane, I'm pretty sure went first overall. Where is it? Draft order. Here we go. Yeah, so I'm just gonna try and find this real quick if I can. Yes, so Patrick Kane went first overall. Jakub Voracek went second overall to the Flyers, and Phoenix third overall took Jamie Benn. My team in the Sim League, by the way, was the Florida Panthers. We took PK Subban 10th overall. Paul Byron is the highest climb. He went 20th overall to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Yeah. But yeah, we got the first league stuff underway, and it was fun. You know, doing the draft, it was incredibly fun. Signing ELCs was a little bit rough just because we had so many guys to sign, and it just wasn't confirmed. Not confirmed. It wasn't really. It was pretty rough being able to get guys in free agency because it was like, okay, Patrick Kane wants $2.1 million because I didn't think to just regulate what the ELCs were. So Kane, who was I think already like an 83, was like, oh, he wants $2.1 million for his ELC, and I was like, how can you do that? It's like, I'm just going off what the game tells me. And then the next year after, we decided, okay, no, we're gonna implement the regular ELC because getting $2.1 million on ELC is not gonna be good. It's not a good idea. But the first year, looking at the Eastern Conference standings, the Toronto Maple Leafs actually had the best record in the East. They were 52-26-4 with 108 points. The worst team was the Montreal Canadiens with 28 wins, 46 losses, and 8 points, and 8 overtime and regulation losses, 64 points. Out west, the San Jose Sharks won the President's Trophy, 51-22-9 with 111 points. The worst team was the Phoenix Coyotes with a 28-42-12 record for 68 points. 40 win teams who missed the playoffs in the West that year was Nashville with 40-37-5, missed the playoffs by 8 points. Yeah, because the overtime points didn't work for them. And the Florida Panthers out east with a 40-34-8 record, they missed the playoffs by 6 points. The Stanley Cup winner, I'm going to go through year by year, just give you the top, bottom, the 40 win who missed, and the Stanley Cup winner. The San Jose Sharks got reverse swept by the Washington Capitals, the Capitals winning the first ever Stanley Cup championship in this league. It was pretty fun. It was a very, very fun league. It was very, very fun that first year. It was very unpredictable. I believe Alexander Daig had a good amount of points. Actually, yeah, I should go over the top point leaders. The top point leaders, Joe Thornton led the league with 88 points, followed up by Simon Gagne, 87. Danny Briere, Habs GM, at 85. I'm recording this in advance, so I'm hoping Briere does become the GM, so that is relevant. Ilya Kovalchuk was the goals leader with 47 points. Daig was 10th in goals that year with 35 on the Blackhawks. Joachim Hecht led the league in assists with 58. And yeah, this should tell you how bad NHL 08 sim engine is. The top goalie stats, goals against the average leaders, was Mika Kiprasov with a 2.15, which is perfectly fine. Kiprasov, that's absolutely understandable for him. Save percentage was Mika Kiprasov with a 880. This game was so bad at registering save percentages. Realistically, that would probably be like a 923 in NHL 09 or NHL 09 if we had gone to NHL 09. Now you see, this is the problem we ran into. NHL 08 had a season mode, which was perfectly fine. It wasn't anything special, but it was a season mode. It was a season mode. Then we ran into the issue of NHL 09. We wanted to go to the PC version at first. The PC version is garbage. The NHL 08 on PC as well is garbage, but NHL 09 is even more garbage. Because at least 08 has a nice presentation and a really nice gameplay style to it. NHL 09 is just bad. There's no way to move players between rosters without doing a swap. Or sorry, no, there is, but the salary cap restricts you in this game. So it's not like future NHL games where you can go over what the real life salary cap would be. You can have $100 million of your salary compared to like $58 million of the salary cap, I think is what it was at the time. You have to go to the salary cap. And you can't edit rosters. You can't edit salaries like you can in other games. You can't edit Teemu Selanne to take league minimum. You can't edit all these guys getting paid the most to take league minimum. You can't do that in NHL 08 or 09 on PC. So NHL 09, we decided very, very quickly, okay, we're not going to go to NHL 09 on PC. We are not going to use this game because it would take way too long to get... it would take way too long to switch everything over, and by the time we do, it just wouldn't be worth it. So we decided to go to NHL 09 on PS3. And I thought, okay, guys, give me, 2 or so weeks. I'm new at switching rosters. Just give me a bit to do this. I opened the game, and there's no season mode. There is no season mode whatsoever. I'm like, okay. No need to panic. Let me look at franchise mode. Let me see if there's a way that, if you can control every NHL team in franchise mode. There's not. There's no way to control every single team in NHL 09 franchise mode. So we're screwed with NHL 09. So I'm like, okay, shit. So what I decide is, wait, I have NHL 2K9. Let me load that one up, because that has to have a season mode, right? Load it up. And no season mode either. I'm pretty sure. No season mode either. And at that point, I'm like, oh God, what are we going to do? Because NHL 09 does not have a great roster control feature. It doesn't have season mode, I'm pretty sure. It's just not a great game. So I decided, okay, let me spend $20, nearly $20, and buy the biggest waste of money I've bought in recently, NHL 2K10 on PS3. Let me buy this. I buy it. And I'm going to go grab something real quick. I'm going to come back in a second, and I'm going to show you guys what I had to do for this league. I'll be right back. So what I had to do for this league was this. That's a giant stack of papers, and you might wonder, this is actually split amongst 2 pieces of paper. 2 stacks, I should say. So this first stack, oh yeah, there you go. You guys can kind of see, is all contract information for the league. I'll see if I can just give you guys a little spiral of it. Okay, let me see. I cannot flip through paper. Yeah, this is all the contract info for this league. Oh, apparently I missed out a couple of these. Okay, rip. That sucks. Okay, never mind. No, okay, I get what's going on there. So all contract info for the league, which I didn't end up putting in. I just printed it as a waste of time, in the end. But the contract info. Then, you guys are probably wondering, Harry, what the hell is this? This is every single player that was signed to an NHL team this second year. I had to go through, and this thankfully wouldn't end up being on NHL 2K10. We'll explain that in a second. That's every NHL player. This is every AHL. Oh, Jesus Christ. This is every AHL player that was in the league for that second year. And yes, that is Sharpie. I marked down every single player where they were on every single team. I marked down if they were a free agent, whether they're in the AHL, they're the DHL, they're in the Elite League, the SM Liga. I marked that down on this. And I start to work on it in 2K10. And I'm like, okay, I'll edit player names and whatnot, and I'll do overalls at the same time. It'll be easy that way. What I don't realize, you cannot move players that are like 65 or whatever overall to free agency. You cannot add guys to free agency and then move other guys to your team via free agency. I don't know if it was a glitch, a one-time glitch with my game or what, but I couldn't move guys. And this is also at the same time I got the current capture card I'm using. I can't show it, but yeah, that's the same time I got the capture card. So I spent some time in my room with my notes, looking up at my TV and whatever, put it with this disc in my PlayStation, and then got the capture card, moved the PS3 out here where it's been the past 5-6 months, hook up the capture card, start working on this, and then yeah, it just didn't work. I mean, like, the game obviously worked and the capture card worked, but I couldn't use this game as the template for the next year of the Sim League, the next 2 years, because we had to go too, because we couldn't play in 09. So eventually I decided, you know what? And I'd set several polls like, oh, do you guys want to stick with EA or go to 2K? Thankfully, everyone voted to go to 2K, or to EA. Thankfully, everyone voted to go to EA, because we had to go to NHL 10 on PS3, because this game actually had season mode on the console version. It also happened to be the first game where they did not port it over to PC. And I believe they still ported it to PS2. I think this is the last year they ported it to PS2, I'm pretty sure. But this year, this game, the first year, it was incredibly tough because I had to, again, go through the sheets and go through that. And I actually had to use a couple players with HockeyDB.com. Not sponsored, but I wish we were because they were really, really helpful. Not like I talked to anyone there, but the site was really useful, I should say. Really helpful. And yeah, so we finally had our game. It took me probably about a two-week period to transfer everyone onto the rosters, and even then, there were 2 Pavel Datsyuks for the first 3 games of the year on Chicago and Buffalo, I'm pretty sure. There were guys all over that just were not where they were supposed to be, you know? So the first year with NHL 10 was a bit of a disaster. And that year, the Eastern Conference, the Florida Panthers actually finished first in the East in this season, the 2008-2009 season, with a 56-23-3 record, 115 points. And in the West, it would end up being, who was the best? It was San Jose, Jesus, with a 61-17-4 record for 126 points, running away with the President's Trophy. The worst team in the East were the Toronto Maple Leafs with a 32-44-6 record for 70 points. And in the West, it was, again, Phoenix with a 28-47-7 record for 63 points. There were actually no 40-win there were actually no teams with 40 wins that missed the playoffs. Almost was. Atlanta, Washington lost out on the final night. So they unfortunately didn't make the playoffs. But yeah, that would have been a fun thing. But yeah, Atlanta almost missed out due to Washington, and by 1 point, Chicago made it in over Nashville and Dallas, who both had 39 wins. And Minnesota actually beat Dallas on the very last night with 1 second left in regulation to eliminate them from playoffs. So if Dallas makes the playoffs, I'm pretty sure if Dallas won that game or got to regulation or got to overtime, they would have won that game. I'm pretty sure. But Minnesota beat Dallas on the last night with a second left, like I said, so Dallas was eliminated right then and there. The Stanley Cup champions. The Stanley Cup champions for this year was again a reverse sweep. The Atlanta Thrashers, yes, the Atlanta Thrashers made it all the way to the Cup Finals. They took out the Panthers in the first round in 6. Took out Philly, sweeping them. Only dropped a game as they beat the Montreal Canadiens. They're up 3-0 on the Blackhawks, and the Blackhawks come back to take it 4-3 2 years of the league, and 2 reverse sweeps. That is right. And I just realized you guys might have been hearing Discord this whole time, so I'm extremely sorry. Actually, no, you guys might probably, yeah, no, you guys haven't been. You've just been hearing me. So the Chicago Blackhawks reverse sweep. And at that point, we're thinking, holy shit, what's going on? You know? The 2008 draft, first and second overall, both belonged to the Ottawa Senators. The Steven Stamkos and Erik Karlsson both got taken by them. Florida didn't have a first-round draft pick, and the biggest riser was Mikhail Bodker going 9th overall to the Montreal Canadiens. So, yeah. I think from there we don't go with... Yeah, from there we're not going to be able to go with who got picked in which draft, because I didn't update the thing, and I'm not going to open the sheet right now. So, yeah. The top player stats, I am going to bring these up, actually. The top player stats for the 08-09 season... Daniel Sedin led with 103 points. Danny Heatley, the only 50 goal scorer in the league thus far, had 50 with the Montreal Canadiens. Simon Gagne had 63 assists with the Philadelphia Flyers. And David Clarkson led the league with 174 PIMs. I just thought that would be interesting to note. The top goalie stats were actually fixed this time. The goals against average leaders, I actually couldn't fix the goals against average leaders just because the game kept crashing, but I'm pretty sure it was someone with a point with a 2.38 goals against average, something like that. But they actually fixed the save percentage, which actually did crash once they got past a certain limit. But Rick DiPietro had the best with a 923, so they did end up fixing that, thankfully. Then the next year, because we stayed in NHL 2010, because we stayed in this game, it actually ended up being a lot easier than a lot of people just probably expected, because it was a lot faster, because one, I started using HockeyDB to track everything, and to track where all the players were to move them to the proper teams, and B, we were already in this game, and so it was just incredibly easy to move players around. So we stayed in that league, and there was not really many controversies in that season. As for the East, the top of the East, despite having 51 wins, by 1 point, the Florida Panthers missed out on the first seed. It was the Boston Bruins with a 50-25-7 record with 107 points. And out in the Western Conference, the San Jose Sharks again. San Jose Sharks winning the President's Trophy the year before and winning it this year with a 51-26-5 record for 107 points. Did they? Oh, yeah. So 3 teams actually finished with 107 points. It was Boston, San Jose, and Columbus with a 50-25-7 record. So if only I could have gotten that one extra point, we would have had a 4-way tie for a President's Trophy lead. In the East, there actually was one team who had 40 wins. We weren't that good. 40 wins who missed the playoffs, and that was the Washington Capitals for the second straight year. 40-35-7 with 87 points. Missed out on the playoffs by 1 point. They actually had the 1 point needed. They actually had 1 point because on the last night they took the Boston Bruins to a shootout, but they couldn't beat them. So they missed out on the playoffs by 1 measly point. And if they had gotten that point, they tie Montreal, but I'm pretty sure they win based off wins. And in the West, Nashville had 40-36-6 with 86 points. Out East, the worst team was the Buffalo Sabres. The East was actually pretty solid. They had 35-43-4 record with 74 points. So they only missed the playoffs by 14 points. They definitely could have made it in. I'd argue the worst team was Carolina with a 32-39-11 record with 75 points, but, you know. And out West, this is the year of Anaheim tanking. Anaheim had a record of 19-59-4 with 42 points. I believe they got their 19th win on the last night of the year. So they almost had an 18-60-4 record, but unfortunately they did not this year. The Stanley Cup Finals, it was the year of Philadelphia. Philadelphia took out Atlanta in the first round in a 5-game sweep. In a 5-game series. Might as well. It was a gentleman's sweep. Atlanta won 1-0, and Philly just took 4 straight in a gentleman's sweep. They took out Montreal in 6. Simon Gagne had a natural hat trick in Game 6 to send them to the Stanley Cup Finals. Philly beat Ottawa in double overtime in Game number 4 to sweep them, and they would go on to defeat the Edmonton Oilers in the Stanley Cup Finals in 5 games, 1-0. Danny Briere with a lone goal in the 20 save shutout for Arturo Nittymaki as I started tracking. And yeah, the Philadelphia Flyers, arguably looking like the next dynasty in our league, actually. Looking like our next dynasty. Would not get reverse swept. They actually did. Edmonton actually, funny enough, led 1-0, so it was just like the first round. Edmonton led 1-0, and then Philly just took 4 straight games, so that was kind of funny. Every game actually was a 1-goal game, aside from game number 3, which ended 6-1 for Philly. Game 1 ended with an Edmonton winning 5-4. Game 2 was Philly in overtime 6-5. Game 4 was Philly in overtime 2-1, and Game 5 was Philly 1-0. The top player stats, as I'm going to go over, were Danny Heatley leading the league with 115 points on the Colorado Avalanche. Rick Nash, the only other 100-point scorer with Atlanta, 101 points. Danny Heatley was the only 50-goal scorer with 51 goals that year for Colorado. Danny Heatley also led the league in assists with 64, tied for first with Alex Radulov. Rick Nash won behind them with 63. And okay, so that's all the player stats. For the goalie stats, Mika Kiprusoff led the league with a 2.57 goals against average in 64 games. And Tuukka Rask led the league in save percentages with a 915. And let's go for shutouts. Ryan Miller from Minnesota and Ilya Brizgalov from Colorado each had 9. So, yeah, there's that season. And then we come upon the most recent season that happened in NHL 11. This was arguably the easiest season to do, actually, just because I was using HockeyDB permanently for the player stats at this point. And so I decided to just create an alternate sheet and go through all the players on that list and move them to their respective teams that way. I thought, okay, that's probably the easiest method that we're going to get, and it would. It's been the easiest method I've used to get players on their respective teams. Again, there's not really much controversy in these seasons. You know, there's not like, oh, we had to restart because my power went out, or, oh, the game file corrupted, you know, like, the closest we got to the game files corrupting, was when the game file would just stop. If the game would just freeze when I tried to look at save percentage and goals against average leaders. Like, that was the closest we got on NHL 10, and even then it was just don't look at them then, you know. But yeah, NHL 11, it was actually a pretty fun season. It was a really, really fun season. The New York Islanders clinched the East that year. They had a 51-25-6 record with 108 points. The Florida Panthers actually right behind them with a 51-28-3 record with 105 points. The worst team in the East were the New York Rangers that year with a 29-48-5 record for 63 points. And Atlanta had a 40-34-8 record. We actually had a relocation, 2 relocations this year for the NHL 11 season. We had the Phoenix Coyotes moving to the Quebec Nordiques, and the Carolina Hurricanes relocating to the Winnipeg Jets. The Quebec Nordiques, their first year, had a 31-42-9 record with 71 points. Keep in mind, this is with Jamie Benn, Jeff Skinner, and a couple other guys on their team. And the Winnipeg Jets had a 32-42-8 record with 72 points, right in the middle of the non-playoff teams. In the East, the Atlanta Thrashers missed out in the playoffs, like I said, with a 40-34-8 record with 88 points. Missed the playoffs by 5 points. Out West, the Colorado Avalanche claimed the President's Trophy with a 54-25-3 record with 111 points. San Jose winning this President's Trophy 3 straight years, and they finally didn't win it. Yeah, the Anaheim Ducks, again, finished with a really, really poor record. I don't think it was worse than last year. No, they were better than last year by a couple points, actually. They were better by them by a couple points. They had a 58-7 record, so they improved just with losing in overtime. So 51 points for them, or 41 points, sorry, for them. And 2 teams out west, missed the playoffs with 40-plus wins. The first really hurts. It was the Calgary Flames with a 42-33-7 record with 91 points. They missed the playoffs by 4 points. And the LA Kings had a 40-35-7 record with 87 points. They missed the playoffs by 8. It was actually them, and then it was the rest of the Western Conference. It goes 91 points for Calgary, 87 for the Kings. The Preds with 75, the Jets 72, the Dallas Stars with 70, Minnesota 63, and then Anaheim with 41. So yeah, if anyone was making the playoffs in the West, aside from Vancouver and Detroit, who got the 7th and 8th seed, it was Calgary and LA. As for the playoffs, I want to mention, actually, I want to go back real quick. The biggest story has been the San Jose Sharks. Because the first year, obviously, they choked in the Stanley Cup Finals. They choked in the Stanley Cup Finals to the Washington Capitals. In the second year, they choked a 3-1 series lead in the first round to the Chicago Blackhawks, who would eventually win the Stanley Cup. They would go on to win the Stanley Cup, having 2 brilliant comebacks, actually, in that first round in the finals. In the third year, the San Jose Sharks would choke yet again. What happened this time? Well, firstly, they came back down 3-0 against the Blues. Down 3-0, reverse sweeping them. Every game was a win by 1 goal except for 2 games. St. Louis won Game 1 4-3. They won Game 2 4-3. They won Game 3 4-2. San Jose won Game 4 3-1. They win Game 5 in overtime 4-3. They win Game 6 6-4, and they win Game 7 5-4. So they come back in this brilliant playoff race, or this brilliant comeback down 3-0, and in the second round, Calgary leads at 1-0. San Jose ties the series in Game 2. Calgary leads 2-1. San Jose ties. Calgary leads 3-2. The series is tied, and Calgary won Game 7 in overtime. So the Calgary Flames, the Sharks, never led once in this series. They always had to tie the series. And in this fourth year of the league, three straight years of choking for the San Jose Sharks. 3 straight years. What happens in the series in this year where they finally don't win the President's Trophy? They defeat the Detroit Red Wings in the first round, 4 games to 2. In the second round, they overcome the Chicago Blackhawks after actually blowing a 2-0 and 3-1 series leads to lead it 2-1 and 3-2. They do not perform the choke. They win it in 6, winning the series 4-2. In the conference finals, in Game 7, coming back in the series down 3-2, defeating the Colorado Avalanche in back-to-back 2-1 games. In Game 7 in overtime in Colorado, the first seed against the second seed, coming back to beat the Colorado Avalanche. The Philadelphia Flyers defeat the Senators in 6 games. So it's the team who's choked 3 years in a row in the San Jose Sharks against the reigning, defending Stanley Cup champion Philadelphia Flyers. Game 1, series in Game 1. Philly wins it 4-2. In Game 2, it's a 1-0 win for the San Jose Sharks to tie it up. Philly leads the series 3-2 in overtime, 2-1 with a 3-2 victory in overtime. In Game 4, it's a 4-0 shutout. So Rick DiPietro with 2 shutouts in the Cup Finals for 2 wins for the San Jose Sharks. The series is tied. So we saw this. Just like what happened the year before with Calgary. They could not get the lead. They could not win. But in Game 5, the Sharks win it 2-1. They go up in the Stanley Cup Finals series 3-2. But in Game 6, it's a 3-2 victory for Philly to tie the series. We are going home in San Jose for the San Jose Sharks to potentially win their first Stanley Cup in franchise history. It has to go to overtime. This Stanley Cup Finals, game number 7, going to overtime. And then we go to double overtime. We head to double overtime. And a minute and 5 seconds in, who gets the double overtime game-winning goal? Maxim Afinogenov. The San Jose Sharks finally win the Stanley Cup, dethroning the Philadelphia Flyers, who were 1 goal away from their 2nd straight Stanley Cup. For their 4th in franchise history, it would have been. The San Jose Sharks come back and they win it. And the other story, in my opinion, was the Florida Panthers, actually. It was the Florida Panthers. We hadn't gotten out of the first round. Obviously, the first year we didn't make it. Second year we lost in the first round to Atlanta. Third year we lost in the first round to the Rangers. And this year, we were patterned against the Sabres, who hadn't gotten out of the first round, hadn't made the playoffs since the first year where they defeated the Maple Leafs in an upset. We ended up beating them in game 5. We took them out in 5, and then we lost in the second round in 7 games to the Ottawa Senators. Unfortunately. Very, very unfortunately. But yeah, and then that was that year. And now this year, we are going to NHL 12. We are going to NHL 12. I just realized I've been talking for 45 minutes. Holy shit. We're in NHL 12. I've not done much in terms of roster movement and whatever, just because this year has coincided with my 25 Days of Harry, which is what I've been focusing most of my energy on, is 25 Days of Harry the past couple weeks, you know, so like I said, who knows, maybe by the time this video is up, maybe I'm back working in the league, but yeah. If you guys do want to join the league, I will put the Sim League link in the description. It's been a lot of fun. It's been great fun working on the league. The top player stats I'll go over, and then we'll start working on doing the outro. The points leaders, it was Danny Heatley yet again with 95 points. Fellow teammate Ilya Kovalchuk was second, though, with 94 points. Ilya Kovalchuk led the league in goals with 42. Danny Heatley not far behind, though, third with 39, second being Taylor Hall with 40. The assist leaders was Jaromir Jagr from the Florida Panthers, along with Devin Setaguchi from the San Jose Sharks, and Ottawa Senators Steven Stamkos, all tied for first with 58. That was pretty cool. Top goalie stats. It was Mika Kiprasov with a 2.52 goals against average and a 921 save percentage, just dominating the league. The next highest goals against average was Roberto Luongo with a 2.69, and save percentage next up was Roberto Luongo with a 916. So, yeah, the fact that, you know, I think that's pretty good. I think that is pretty damn good, actually. So yeah, Mika Kiprasov obviously won the Vezina. But yeah, guys, that is going to do it for today's video. We're just discussing the history of the league, you know, like I said. And I thought it was pretty fun. If you guys got any comments or questions or whatever, obviously, let me know in the description. If you want to know certain players, how they've done, you know, if you want to know how Crosby's done, how Ovechkin's done, I can let you guys know. But yeah, guys, that is going to do it. I also actually did want to bring up certain channels that I use, actually. I do use a stats channel. I have every single team in the league. I send out their stats after every month in the league. Gets a little tiresome, yeah, but it's all right. And I actually wanted to answer, you guys might have probably been thinking, wait, but Harry, these guys have to grow, right? Like, Danny Heatley has to be like a 94, 95, even though he's like an 83 in NHL 11, right? I do growth myself. I have 2 other guys who help me out with them. Jack Olson, who's a mod on the channel, and another guy who I'm not going to mention because he's not on YouTube. But they help me out with the growth. Jack Olson typically does the West, and the other does the West, and this other guy's been doing the East. But I've been having to take over for them the past couple years, anyways. But yeah, I've been doing growth, so I've had to go through every single player's stats and seeing how they improve. Yeah, you may be wondering, what do you do exactly in the league? What do GMs do? You do your moves, you do your roster moves, you do your lines for the NHL and the AHL. You do your captaincy, you can change people's numbers, you can request overall potential player style changes. You can do training sessions where you can send your players to camp and hope they grow and overall improve their shooting, their playmaking, their defense, their goaltending. You know, you can improve all that stuff. We have free agency. Every year I look in the European League, see if there's a couple players that I could add and be interested in. Sometimes, unfortunately, there's not. But yeah, there's all of that. We've had the European invasion of 2009. We've had a couple guys coming over from Europe in 2011. So yeah, and we're probably gonna have guys coming over from different leagues in the future, anyways, as well. So yeah, that is pretty much everything I wanted to go over. We also do obviously allow trades. We have buyouts. We have free agent signings. No doubt about it. This is a really fun league that I love talking about, you know, and I just love going over it. I'm very proud of it. And yeah, how long do we plan on going for? I plan on going until the most recent NHL game. You know, I know it's taken a while to get to the current Sim League, and I apologize to anyone from the Sim League that's watching this. But, you know, I want to get to the current game. You know, I want to get to NHL 2022. You know, I want to have to buy it because we're at that game in the Sim League, you know? But, you know, so it is a bit of time. It is a bit time consuming, but you know what? Hey, it's fun for me. I love doing it. It's just something that I like doing, and I think we are currently the best sim league out there. You know, I don't think any other sim league compares to the Harry Race Hockey Sim League. You know, I don't think that's biased. I genuinely think we are a damn good sim league. You know, but yeah, I guess we're gonna end it with that. I guess we're gonna end with that. Um, so yeah, guys, that is gonna do it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, favorite, share on everything, which includes but is not limited to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, else. My name is Harry. So on Puff Club, he's Club, subscribe to the D Nation. If you remember the Mod Squad, thank you for moderating any comments on your streams and or new videos that I upload. It is much greatly appreciated. Links in the description, boys. Check them out. We got the Amazon wish list, the PO box, the PayPal. We got the Discord, both the Discords. We got the speedrun, the Letterbox, and the thingy, the Twitch. We also have one other link down there, I think, but I keep forgetting. So yeah, guys, that is going to do it for today's video, guys. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you watched it all the way through, watch this 50-minute long video. That's absolutely insane. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Harris, and I am out. Stay classy, boys. Ade Mariel. And always remember, no matter how bad they are like this year or how good they are like last year, go Habs, go, baby. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Harris, and I am out. Love you guys. Stay classy, boys. Peace.